Hey, it's Madara, and welcome to a Jank guide to One Piece. Part 1, this is the prologue, this is One Piece 101, baby. This is where we get our little doggies in the water, we wiggle around a little bit, see if it's warm enough. Now, moving forward, I will be doing every single arc. Like, Romance Dawn will be next. The next episode will be the East Blue, all of that, where we meet Luffy, the whole gang, where it all kicks off, really. But I thought I'd just do like a little preemptive video, just kind of like a crash course, basically. If you have never heard about One Piece, really want to get into it, or anything like that. We'll be talking about the very basics. Basically like a survival kit of what you'll need moving forward in like these videos. Now, the golden question is, what is One Piece? What is the One Piece? Who is Luffy? Who is Monkey Luffy? Who is this? So we don't know what the One Piece is. I'm just going to get that out the way, first of all. We don't know what that is. We probably won't know what it is until another, like, 5 to 10 years, depending how long Oda wants to take this. But basically, it's a story about pirates. It's a story about Monkey D. Luffy. He's a cool little guy who ate the gum fruit. He gets all stretchy. We'll talk about fruits in a second. But yeah, he's all stretchy. He wants to be king of the pirates. And that's his whole MO. That's what the whole story is about. So, one of the biggest complaints that I hear everywhere is that One Piece is too long. And I just want to give you some insight on a crazy phenomenon that happens to every single One Piece fan when they get started watching and when they catch up inevitably, right? It's that One Piece isn't long enough. You get to the end and it's like, wow, I am hollow inside. I have nothing going on. I have to wait a week, 2 weeks. God forbid there's a goddamn holiday in Japan, because then you have to wait like a month for any sort of content to come out. And it's a crawl. It's horrible. You go from like binging 50 episodes a day to getting like 3 pages like every 2 weeks. It's horrible. It's pretty bad. So once you get past that initial hump, trust me, One Piece does not feel as long as you think. As of recording this video, we are just about to hit episode 1149 and chapter 1165. Like, look, it is quite the amount of content to consume. But hopefully this video will help you as you read through it, or if you just don't have the time to read it or like consume any sort of media on One Piece. This can be kind of like a pretty watered down version of what to expect. So you can just kind of jump in and talk to those people around you that are into One Piece to pretty much like a surface level or a deeper level, depending on how into it you want to get. But let's talk about some of the bare bones stuff with One Piece. What's the story about? What is this? Who is this Monkey D. Luffy stretchy guy, right? So One Piece is a story about pirates trying to get the One Piece. So at the beginning of the story, we have a figure called Goldie Roger. He's the pirate king. He was like executed on this platform. We'll get into a lot more like in-depth story beats when we get into the actual arcs. But he basically said to the world, hey, I left all my treasure in one place. Go find it. Go find the One Piece, right? Which kicked off this massive like pirate era. Everyone going out to sea, everyone going out to the Grand Line. Now, the Grand Line is basically the ocean, pretty much, in the One Piece world. It's a little bit more nuanced than that, and we'll get talking about that. You'll find out a lot more about the Grand Line and how crazy of a place it is and how dangerous is this whole, like, pilgrimage to find the One Piece. Now, this inspired a lot of people in the world, but one person in particular is Monkey D. Luffy. Now, Monkey D. Luffy, he's a little guy, a little stretchy guy. He's probably one of the greatest MCs in fiction in general. I cannot describe to you the amount of warmth I feel when I see him on screen and just how wholesome he really is. He's on the surface, he is pretty dumb. He's pretty much like an idiot. But the more you kind of read into his story and what he's all about, the depth of the character is insane. And we will talk about that quite a bit later on. But as the story progresses, obviously we get some crew members. I'll give you a brief rundown of all the crew members. Obviously we got Luffy. He's a stretchy boy, stretchy man. He made the gum fruit. It gave him stretchy powers. Pretty cool. Next, we have Zoro. He's like the 3-sword style guy. You've probably seen pictures everywhere. He holds a sword in his mouth. He's incredibly hot. He's got massive titties. Like, he is... he's awesome. He's really cool. Fun fact, he's like in like easily the top 10 of like the R34 like rule searches, and just like the amount of lewd fan fiction that gets made about this man is astronomical. It's insane. Next, we've got Nami. Now, I blame Nami for pretty much 90% of my gender problems. She is amazing. She is fucking phenomenally written. One of the best things about One Piece is how well the female characters are written and how much time and care has gone into these characters. But we'll get to that. Then we've also got like Midsop, Usopp. He's cool. He's kind of the runt of the crew. He's a goofy little guy. He's basically the boy who cried wolf. He uses a slingshot. He doesn't have a devil fruit. He's Usopp. Not much more to say. He has a big nose. Like, I don't know. Next we have my husband, my boy, Sanji. Peep the credentials. I love him so much. He is my boy wife. He is a dirty little hairy twink, and I love him. He's my favorite character out of all Straw Hats. Has one of the greatest backstories in the entire show. He is freaking awesome. Next, we got Chopper, the little reindeer that talks. He ate the human fruit. So he was a deer. He became a human. It's complicated. But he's also so cute and awesome. So it doesn't really matter if it's complicated and if it doesn't really make any sense. Because he's fucking awesome. I love that little guy. And also, he has like different forms. My favorite being the little karate form that he has. It's insane. And then, of course, Robin, the archaeologist. She's great. I pretty much got to give you the bare minimum for this character because she has one of the coolest character arcs and reveals in the entire story. And we'll get to that very, very soon when we get into the story. Like, from Alabasta onwards, it kicks off pretty hard. And she's like a big main focus of the story. But she is awesome. She is mommy. She is el dente, you know what I mean? And then, of course, Frankie, the cyborg, the weird expose freak. He's awesome. He makes ships. He's just cool. I don't know. He's just handyman. He's sick. Next, we've got the sex offender Brook. He's a big skeleton man. He ate the revive fruit, so he died and came back as a skeleton. It's pretty sick. He's cool. Heavy on the sex offender thing. He's a freak. He is. You cover his drink around him. He's a little bit insane. And then, of course, finally, we have Jinbei. Jinbei, he's big fish man. Yes, there's fish people in One Piece. That's something that we will touch on pretty heavily pretty soon in the East Blue arc, which is really fun with like Arlong and stuff. But Jinbei is basically Big Dad energy. Love him. I want to give him a hug. He is profound and has one of the coldest moments in the entire show as well. So that was just kind of like a brief summary of all of the Straw Hats. Obviously, they're a lot more in-depth than that. They're pretty sick. They're pretty awesome. I love the Straw Hats very much. But I thought I'd just give you like a brief rundown. And yeah. So you're probably asking, what is a devil fruit? Why does it give people powers? What is going on? So one of the main power systems in One Piece is the devil fruits. So they're literally fruits that if you eat them, you gain powers. There's also some caveats to that. Like you lose your ability to swim. And if you eat more than one devil fruit, you fucking explode. Which is a little insane. But yeah. Although, look, there is Blackbeard. He does have 2 fruits. We don't really know how he did that. His body's pretty weird. But yeah, you can eat more than one fruit. But we just don't know how to do it. But 99% of people fucking explode. So I wouldn't eat 2 fruits. But yeah, it gives you powers. There's 3 main types of devil fruits. There's Logia, Paramecia, and Zoan. They all have different properties and different ways in which they give you powers. We'll get into that more as the story progresses as well. But that's like the bare bones, surface level knowledge on devil fruits. That's all you need to know. There's also Haki, which is basically like Ki. There's like 3 different types as well. There's Armament, Observation, and Conqueror's Haki. That's a big part of the story. It's pretty much how you combat devil fruits and their powers, because at the beginning of the story, some devil fruits are crazy broken, like Crocodile, who's made of sand. How the hell do you fight a sand pit? Who knows? You shitting it? I don't know, but... But yeah, that's pretty much the power systems. Look, there's a little bit more complicated stuff when it comes into that, how they interact, how different types of devil fruits, different types of Haki interact as well. But that's pretty much it for the surface stuff. Now, let's get into the thematic stuff of One Piece. This is the best part of One Piece, and I've heard a lot of people say, hey, One Piece is really goddamn childish. And I say to you, are we watching the same show? Are you illiterate? Have you done grade 1? Or are you just stupid? So, One Piece, yes, it is a shonen manga made for kids to an extent, right? A lot of shonen manga aren't really made for kids anymore, or at least just shouldn't be shown to kids, like the age target demographic. But One Piece is insanely confronting sometimes. So very early on in the story, we encounter things pretty like not really fitting the tone of the story. Like cannibalism happens in the first 40 episodes. Slavery is a big part of the story. Human trafficking, sexual assault is pretty rampant in it as well. With some really vile villains in this story and everything like that. And yeah, it is insanely political as well. That because I'm gonna drop in my tinfoil hat theories as I go forward with these arcs, but it's pretty substantial. You could find a million video essays on every single arc in this goddamn show, every single goddamn character. There is so much substance to enjoy, and even the most minute characters with little to no screen time have so much rich lore to them. It's absurd. Not only that, the fishmen in this story are basically a direct metaphor for people of color, and they are basically oppressed throughout all of history. So there's that whole can of worms to unpack. Now, looking at me, I'm not the person to speak on that, but something that I can speak on is the queer representation in this show. Look, there are some pretty bad depictions in anime in general, but as early as the year 2000, which is chapter 129 of One Piece, we get an openly trans character, and they are depicted perfectly. Obviously, there's always room for improvement for representation in all forms of media, but One Piece does it spectacularly. It's insane. Later on, we find out there to be a place called the Kamabaka Kingdom, and Emporio Ivankov is basically can change your gender at will with their hormone fruit, and they have a whole kingdom of queer people. It is a spectacle to behold with how progressive One Piece was for the time it was written. Imagine having one of your favorite characters be trans in the year 2000. That's a little insane. I was but a baby, so I didn't really understand those concepts, but now that warms my heart to know that was back then. You know what I mean? But yes, enough about the thematic stuff. I just wanted to touch on that briefly to give you a little taste into what is to come with the story. If you were hesitant at all because of, people saying that it's just a goofy little gum guy that stretches. It's not that at all. It's insanely deep, and it's so deep, bro. But it's really cool. There's so much to unpack and enjoy. But yes, that's my little crash course on One Piece for now. I have left a lot of stuff out because it's either a big spoiler or it's too much to talk about in this little video, or it's just not relevant at the moment until we get to the story, when you know more about the characters, when you know more about what's going on in the story. So if you've seen anything else that I do content-wise, you'll know that I make murals. I made the Wall of Virginity. It's how I kind of started this whole content creation thing, and I did the Haikyuu mural and a few other ones, right? But I purposely left out One Piece from that mural because I like too many goddamn characters from this series, because there's too goddamn many characters from this series. And if I put one on there, it'll probably turn into 500 characters on this goddamn piece of paper, and it wouldn't really be a mural for my favorite anime characters. It would just be a One Piece mural. So with this series, every single episode, I will be releasing a part of a mural tied to the arc or the character that the episode is based upon, so that as we progress, you'll have another piece and another piece and another piece that will slowly make this big-ass mural, and it'll be able to evolve as we make the series, because the story is ongoing. It's not finished. We're probably going for a few more years, so you'll be able to extend upon this mural as we make more videos on it. I think that'd be really sick. Plus, it allows me to draw, allows me to do stuff, and yeah, allows me to support myself, of course, in making content. And it's something that I can give back to you as well. But yes, so the next episode will be the East Blue Saga. It'll be where it all kicks off. You might know it as the Romance Dawn Saga, or Romance Dawn arc. But yes, that'll be coming out very, very soon. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just want to, dip our little feet in the water, get a little like sense for what we're about to get into. Any questions, comments, you know what's up. And of course, subscribe, follow, do what you gotta do, support me, get me on the algorithm, all that cringe ass content creator shit that I've got to say. And yeah, drink some water, eat some good food. And of course, as the legend would say, have yourself damn a good one, guys. And I will see you in the next thing that I make. Hey, see you guys.